Okay, today's lesson is lesson 53, adding and subtracting polynomials. These are the steps. You're going to want to identify the different types of terms by the variables and their exponents. So basically you're recognizing that if I have a term with an x in it, that's different than an x cubed or an x squared, okay? I can't combine these things with addition or subtraction. They're different types of terms, okay? So after that, you're going to identify the coefficients of each term. Remember that a coefficient is the number in front of a variable. Then you're going to want to identify the operation and combine like terms. So the operation for these is going to be addition or subtraction. And then you're going to combine like terms. Again, combining terms that have the same variable and exponent. So like x squared plus x squared will give me a 2x squared. Then I'll write the final answer in descending order. Descending is like going down. So this is talking about your exponents. So you want your exponents to be in an order where they're going down. So I could have, say, x to the fourth plus 3x cubed plus 2x squared plus x plus 1 as my final answer. So my exponents here are in descending order because I go from 4 to 3 to 2. This really has an exponent of 1. Okay, it's like an imaginary 1 there. And then this has no exponents, right? So I'm going in a descending order. All right, this is our first example. Your problems are going to have, it'll say simplify. That's the instructions that you'll have for these type of problems. So the first thing you want to do is look for the highest exponent, right? We want to write our answer in descending order. So to make it easier, we'll find the biggest one first. So I see that 4 is my largest exponent in this whole expression. So I'm going to start with those terms. So I have plus 7r to the fourth and a positive 3r to the fourth. Then I'm going to identify the coefficients. This is a 7 and this is a 3, and they're both positive. And it's addition happening between them. So this is 7 plus 3. So I have 10r to the fourth terms for the first part of my answer. Then I'm going to look for the next highest exponent, which is a 3. It looks like this is my only cubed term, so it's like I have 0 plus 1, which will just be plus 1r cubed. And that 1 I don't really need to write, so I can just have plus r cubed. Okay, my next term is the r squared term. So I see I have a negative 4r squared and a positive 7r squared. Again, addition in between them. So I'll take my negative 4 and add 7 and get a positive 3r squared. After that, I'm going to look for the next highest exponent, which is just the single r terms. So I have negative 3r and positive 3r, and addition in between them, so it's negative 3 plus 3, which would just give me plus 0r. And again, since it's just 0 there, I don't really have to include it in my answer. Then I look to see if I have any constants, so any terms without a variable, and I see I have an 8 over here but nothing here, so I just have plus 8, and that's my final answer. For this next problem, I see that there's subtraction between the two expressions, so I just need to be careful that I'm applying that operation when I combine like terms. Again, I'll start with my highest exponent, which is a 4. So I'm going to look at this term and this term. I see that I have a negative 8 and a negative 3, and there's subtraction happening between them. Negative 8 minus a negative 3 is just like negative 8 plus 3, which gives me negative 5. So for my answer, I have negative 5a to the fourth as my first term. Then I'll look for the next highest exponent, which it looks like is a 3. So I have 2a cubed here, 2a cubed here, and subtraction happening in between, which means I have 2 minus 2, which equals 0. So the a cubed terms cancel out. My next highest exponent is a 2. I have negative 3a squared and positive 2 squared. Subtraction happening in between, so I would write negative 3 minus 2, which will give me a negative 5. So my next term is negative 5a squared. The next lowest exponent would be a 1, but I don't see any terms that just have an a, so I can go to my constants now. I have a 3 and a negative 1 here with subtraction in between. So 3 minus a negative 1 is just 3 plus 1, which gives me 4. So I have plus 4, and that's my final answer. These next two were done in class, so you could get the notes from a friend. I'm going to move on to a couple different examples, just in case you were in class and you want another example to look back at. So this one we didn't get to, but very similar. I'm going to start with my highest exponent, which is a 4. I see that I have this term and this term both being raised to the 4th power and addition between them. So I have 6, negative 8, and addition, so I would write 6 plus a negative 8, which gives me a negative 2. So for my first term, I have negative 2x to the 4th. Then I look for the next highest exponent, which is a 3. I have negative 7x to the 3rd and positive 6x to the 3rd with addition in between. So negative 7 plus 6 gives me a negative 1, which means I have negative x cubed as my next term. After that, I will go on to the squared terms, which I have 7x squared here and a negative 7x squared here. Addition in between means I have 7 plus a negative 7, which is just 0. Again, since it's 0, I don't really have to include it in my answer. It just those terms cancel out, so it goes away. I'll look for my next lowest exponent, which is a 1. I have a negative 7x here and a positive 2x. So negative 7 plus 2 would give me negative 5. So my next term in my answer would be minus 5x. Okay, and I don't have any constant terms, so I'm done. I've added all the terms together, so this is my final answer. And I'll go through this last one just for one more example with a subtraction. So first I'm going to look for the highest exponent. Again, it's a 4th, or 4 is the highest exponent, so I have 5 and 4 is my coefficient. Subtraction in between means I'll do 5 minus 4, which gives me 1. So my first term would be a to the 4th. After that, I'll look for cubed terms, or terms that have a 3 as an exponent. So I have 8a to the 3rd and 2a to the 3rd with subtraction in between is 8 minus 2, which equals 6. So my next term is plus 6a to the 3rd. Then I'll look for terms that are squared, right, going in descending order. So I have negative 7a squared here and negative 2a squared here. Subtraction in between means I have negative 7 minus a negative 2, which is just negative 7 plus 2, or negative 5. So my next term would be minus 5a squared. And continuing in descending order, I'm looking for the terms that just have a variable with no exponent, so they have really an exponent of 1. So I see this a and this 2a with subtraction in between. So it's 2 minus 1, right? This has a coefficient of 1. So 2 minus 1 is just 1. So I have plus a. And I don't have any constants, so I'm done. This is my final answer. All right, that's it for today's lesson. Thank you.